The morning bell rang through the courtyard like a whistle echoing across an empty stadium. It was the start of another day. Books instead of boots, lessons instead of laps, and a classroom instead of a pitch. Victor sat by the window, eyes unfocused on the words in his notebook. Outside, the sun stretched across the green field where the school team trained. Jerseys glinting, laughter bouncing in the air, boots slicing the grass. For a second, he imagined himself there again, feeling the grass beneath his studs, hearing the roar of the crowd that only existed in his head. But just as quickly, the thought faded. He blinked, turned the page, and forced himself to listen to the teacher. 17, the age where everyone around him seemed to be finding something, purpose, direction, dreams. For him, it was about losing one, football. After the failed scout trial, he had promised himself never to feel that kind of disappointment again. The memory of standing on that empty pitch, watching others get called up while he walked home in silence, still stung. It wasn't just the rejection, it was the way hope had turned on him. So, when the school coach approached him one afternoon, clipboard in hand and eyes bright with recognition, he smiled politely and shook his head. "You've got good feet," the coach said. "Join us. We could use you." "Not anymore, sir," he answered, voice soft. "I just watch now." And he did. Every weekend, he'd find a quiet spot in the common room, eyes glued to the TV as live matches filled the screen. He'd watch the pros glide over the pitch like they were weightless, every pass, every tackle stirring something in him he didn't want to feel. Sometimes, when his friends cheered for goals, he stayed silent. Other times, he'd whisper the player's next move before it happened, still reading the game like a conductor reading music. But when they'd nudge him, saying, "You should be out there," he'd only smile faintly and say, "Not everyone gets their shot." Life in school wasn't bad, it was just quieter. He learned to blend in, to laugh when others laughed, to talk about everything except football. He joined a few clubs, debate, science fair, even art once. Anything to fill the space football had left behind. But at night, when the dorms fell silent, he'd scroll through highlight clips under his blanket, the glow of the screen painting his face in shades of nostalgia. There was one teacher who noticed, the same way someone recognizes an old injury beneath a smile. Mr. Allen, his literature teacher, once stopped him after class. "You know," he said, "the things we love don't really leave us. We just learn to live around them." Victor didn't reply. He just nodded, the words echoing long after the man had left. One afternoon, as the school team practiced, rain started to fall. Gentle at first, then heavy. Most players ran for shelter, laughing. But one of the younger boys stayed behind, struggling to control the ball, tripping over puddles. From where he sat on the bleachers, Victor's hands tightened around his backpack. His instincts kicked in. Every part of him wanted to stand, to help, to correct the boy's stance. He stood halfway, then froze. No, not again. He sat back down, letting the rain wash the sound of the whistle away. But even from that distance, he found himself whispering, "Keep your knee over the ball, not behind it." The boy didn't hear, but somehow kicked it right the next time. And for the first time in a long while, Victor smiled. That night, as he walked back to the dorms, he looked up at the faint light of the stadium still glowing in the rain. He realized he wasn't angry anymore. Not at the scout, not at the past, not at himself. Maybe one day he'd return, not to prove anyone wrong, but to remember why he loved the game in the first place. For now, he told himself school was his field. Life was still the match. And maybe, just maybe, the whistle hadn't stopped, only paused.